Welcome back to Leading Experts. I'm Grayson Foster. Today I'm speaking with author, trainer, and speaker Dan Cassin about his new book series, Discovering Your Own Purpose, and a future book series on discovering your own success. Dan's passion is helping people take their personal and professional lives to the next level to experience growth, success, and life to its fullest. He's here today to share some of his secrets with us. All right, Dan, just before we went to break, I talked about something a principle you use. It's called Fanafy.
Yes.
Can you explain that?
Yeah, find a need and fill it. And I don't know who first came up with it. I know Dr. Robert Schuller has talked about it and others. But finding a need and fill it is one of the key issues to helping you find your own purpose.
Okay.
If you find a need that somebody has and you can find a way to fill that need, and now you're passionate about that, you'll get the job done and you'll make money or you'll be successful, which are not mutually exclusive, but not mutually inclusive.
Right.
You'll accomplish the things that you want to accomplish in that regard. But the key is to find a need and fill it. Invariably, you find business people who say, you know, it seems like if we solved this problem, they're finding a need, we could make some money by solving that problem. They do it and they meet a need. Domino's Pizza was one. People needed pizza at home and they needed it fast. So they said, we'll deliver it in 30 minutes. Bam! Domino's Pizzas grows big. Now, Papa John's comes up and competes. He says, you know, they not only want fast pizza, but they want good pizza, better ingredients, better pizza, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so they market from that angle. So a part of it is the marketing, but most of it is just finding what the need is that people have and finding out if you can fill it, or if you want to fill it, which is another issue altogether. And then once you accomplish that, you can be successful.
Now, from find a need and fill it, doesn't that sort of dovetail with having a mission?
Yeah, it does dovetail with having a mission. If you have a mission there and that mission meets the needs of other people, that mission is going to accomplish what people want and people are going to come to you. Presumably you're the only one who's trying to fill that need. Now, if you're not the only one trying to fill that need, that's where marketing comes in. How do you differentiate yourself from other people? I differentiate myself by saying, I don't want to just talk to people. I don't want to just speak to people. I don't want to just train them. I want to help them find a need and fill it. I want to help them solve their problems. I want to help them accomplish those 5 areas of leadership, marketing, sales, customer service, internet marketing. So if I can find some of the key areas where they're stumbling, where they're making some mistakes, help them solve those problems along the way, they're further along. We can maybe get them even further along than that by integrating some of those areas. And as a result of that, they're more successful. Well, if they're more successful, guess who else is more successful?
Right.
Yeah, I'm more successful too.
Let's talk about values, because you know that's sort of been a breakdown of those in society.
Right.
So what are the values that we do need to have in order to accomplish our mission?
Well, we could come up with cultural values, we could come up with religious values, business values, and ethics. All of those are kind of interrelated there. What I like to talk about in this regard is, what are your values? See, this is again going back to discovering your own directions. What are your values in life? And how do your values translate into things you can accomplish for people in that regard? And when you're working with somebody else, either in the workplace or working with another company or trying to sell to a customer, how do your values interrelate with those? When we're talking to a company, I ask them, what is their value statement? Some of them don't know. All a value statement really is, it talks about how am I going to deal with my customer? How am I going to deal with the public at large? How am I going to deal with my vendors? How am I going to deal with my employees? How am I going to deal with my investors? And you define what those are, and then you let that be a model statement about how you react and interact with people, how you relate to people on a personal or on a public basis or on a corporate basis.
Okay. How important is it to prioritize your life in order to achieve, you know, what you want?
Yeah, kind of going back to the list thing, I talk about that if you have a list, you're more likely to accomplish things. Statistics tell us that if you have a list, you'll accomplish about 80% of the things on the list. Without the list, if it's just nebulous in your mind, you're only going to accomplish 10, maybe 20%. That's if you remember those.
Right,
you know, I tell my wife all the time, she wants me to do things around the house. There's a list on the back of one of the cabinet doors, write it up there and I'll get it done. If you don't write it up there, it won't get done because I won't remember. And it's not just me, it's everybody else. If I have a list of things, like we have a list of things we want to talk about here today, if I have a list of things, I'm more likely to get those things done. And if I get those things done, I'm going to be successful in her eyes or successful in the eyes of my boss. Now, the key is, do I have a short list or a long list? What's wrong with having both? I have things that need to get done today, so I have a to-do list today.
Right.
But I also have a to-do list future. And that future list says I need to get these things done in a certain amount of time. Well, when it comes to today and I can work on one of those things, I drop it down to today's list, see? Now I'm on track in terms of what I need to get done.
Right. Is it important for us always to be setting new goals for ourselves?
Well, you need to set goals and occasionally reset your goals.
Okay.
When I'm dealing with financial issues with companies, I talk about their financials, which looks back at the company's prior year. Well, most everybody is talking to me about budgets and how to read budgets. Well, budgets are fine because they're intermittent views about what's going on, and you can adjust things along the way. Like you're driving down the road, you can adjust whether you put the pedal to the gas or you put it to the brake. That's kind of what a budget does.
Yeah.
Financial look at a company looks back and says, did we meet our mission, vision, values, and goals? Well, if we did, great. If we didn't, what do we need to adjust? And that's why sometimes you may need to adjust your goals, because you look at your goals and you say, you know what, this is working better for me than this, and I like doing this better than I like doing this. So you either adjust or maybe refine that goal a little more. Maybe you like working with kids, but maybe you only like working with kids who are in Little League, or maybe you only like working with kids who are in Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts. So you refine it a little bit. And that's probably more what people need to do with their goals than necessarily rewrite their goals. In fact, I only say you should change your goals about 20% every year.
So once we have our goals in place, how do you go about getting what you want truly?
Well, the key issue to getting what you want is if you have your purpose and you have your mission in gear and you have some goals to accomplish that, the next and the key thing is take action. Do something to get that done, you know. Find out what it is that you need to do next. See if you can do something there. If not, it's no problem to skip over that line and go to the next line down and see if you can accomplish something there. That's taking it from that upper list to do future down to the bottom to do today. What can I do today to get me one step closer? So taking action is the key. It's the old Nike thing, you know. Do something.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Get something done. Take action in some way, shape, or form. Just do it.
Is it true that we all have untapped resources in our life?
Yeah, we do. And probably the biggest reason we do is that we don't think about all of the resources we have. I mentioned before TEEAM, your talents and your training, your educational background, your experience and your expertise. I have a lot of expertise in computers. I can tell people how to do things on the telephone sometimes without having the computer in my hand. But I also know people who are better at it than I am. So while I can do some things, I have to know what I can't do, what I have to take out, and let somebody else do that. And then my focusing on what I can do is the key issue there.
Aren't having a goal and a direction the same thing?
Well, kind of, but really in a way it's a little bit different. And let me explain it this way. If I decide, you know, when we're done from here, Grayson, we're going to go over to McDonald's and we're going to get something to eat. Well, that's a goal, okay? But if I determine that I'm going to let you drive and I'm going to let you choose the direction, I'm going by your list in your direction, you see, that's not a problem. If I determine I'm going to drive, then I'm going by my list in my direction. So now I've got a strategy. My strategy starts with my goal. I'm going to go get something to eat, and then the strategy goes on to how am I going to do it? How am I going to get there? What directions am I going to take to do it? But if I don't have the right direction, I've got a wonderful GPS. I call her name Maggie. Okay? She tells me when I'm off track. And when I'm off track, she tells me how to get back on track. And that's really all you need to do there is get yourself back on track.
Perfect. Coming up, I'll continue my discussion with author, trainer, and speaker Dan Cassin about his new book series, Discovering Your Own Purpose, and we'll discover Dan's future book series on discovering your own success. We'll be discussing something called Pop Ops. It's a very simple evaluation tool we can all use in our lives. Stay with us. Leading Experts will be right back.